Morning to all of you children, 8th D. Welcome to the physics class. I hope you are able to hear my voice, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. So in the last class, if you remember, we were doing lesson number 11, force and pressure. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I can hear two voices very properly. What about the rest of the class? Okay, I'm asking again. We were doing lesson number 11, force and pressure.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good, good, good. That's the spirit. And before I proceed, before I start with the class, I would just start with something. I would just like to tell you something that take care of yourselves, very good care of yourselves. Be safe, stay at home. I hope you all are keeping well.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And those whose family member or those who are not well, uh, I just keep praying for everyone. And I expect my children of 8th D also to pray for others. Okay. Not only if we are well, it's not that we just forget about others. Okay. Keep praying for others because when we pray together, it brings the result. Okay. So with that, let's start. So children, because since we are meeting after a long time, so I'll just try to first tell you and recapitulate what we did in the previous classes. We had some classes, and there were a few children who were not able to join because of maybe some problem. So I would just revise today. In today's class, we are just going to recap what we did in the previous classes. So it was like the lesson number 11, that is force and pressure. I told you what is force, and I also told you about the definition. So generally, when we talk about the force, children, we are talking about any type of, uh, you can say, energy which is bringing about a change in the position of an object. If an object is kept and you're moving it, that means you are applying pressure. If the object is moving and you're stopping it, that means again you are applying pressure. So you can basically say that pressure is a push or a pull that brings about a change in the position or the state of an object. So that was about the force, definition of the force. Then we also know that in physics, whenever we talk about any of the quantity, we need to know how we measure it. Like for time, how do we measure time? Anyone? 8th D. How do we measure time? Come on. 8th D, are you able to hear my voice? Yes or no, first of all?
Yes, ma'am.
So the question is, how do you measure time? टाइम को कैसे पता करते, कैसे नापते हैं? How do you tell the time? What do you use to tell?
By clock.
Okay, by clock. But when we talk about the unit, do you have any idea about unit? Anyone?
Ma'am, hour, minutes, and seconds.
Yes, very good. And rest of you, please pay attention and please understand this is something very, very important, that whenever we talk about any physical quantity, we need to have a unit so that we can measure it. Fine. Like just now, who gave the answer? Who was it?
Ma'am, Shivan Singh.
Yes, Shivansh. Yes, as Shivansh said that, ma'am, we can measure time using hour or using minute or second. The same way there are other physical quantities also that we can measure. And only when we measure, then only there's some use. If supposing I ask what is the time by your watch, and if you say it's 3, okay. So 3 means what 3? Yes, the same way if you say, if you give the answer 3 for some other thing, 3 kg, 3 meter, 3 second, what are you actually talking about? So that particular unit tells us that what physical quantity we are talking about. And these are some of the physical quantities, children, which are which you talk about in everyday life. Like when your mother sends you to the shop and supposing you have to bring 1 kg flour or anything, something. So if you don't know that how much you have to bring. Will you be able to pay to the shopkeeper, or will you be able to get the correct amount of the thing that you have gone to bring?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So that's why, to have an idea of the like how much, okay, for that you need to know the unit, and we have different unit. Now tell me, what is the unit of for temperature? You've done it in 7th.
Fahrenheit and Celsius.
Good, very good. Who is it? Please tell your name.
Ma'am, Sankalp.
Good, Sankal. Good boy. So this is what I was actually telling you. I was just acquainting you with the word unit. So here, when we talk about the unit of force, we have Newton. Newton is the unit which is used to measure the force. Kitna force hai? Itna Newton. 10 Newton, 15 Newton, 20 Newton. This is how we'll be doing when we'll be solving some numericals based on it. So you need to know that what are we going to use? Which unit? It is Newton. And let me also tell you that this unit is named after a famous scientist, and the name is, anyone?
Sir Isaac Newton.
Yes, Sir Isaac Newton. So this is, see children, as I keep telling you, those who are joining for the first time or those who have not attended, and as I have not taught you in the previous year, so like, let me tell you that as and how I keep teaching the chapter, as and how we deal with different topics, I also keep telling you that what can be asked in which type of question in your exams or your unit test paper. Like this Isaac Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, this is important from the point of view of anyone? Any guesses? In fill in the blanks, it can be asked. Fine. So you need to know the unit, that is Newton, and named after whom? Sir Isaac Newton. Then we have effect. So net effect of two or more force acting on a body. That was the other topic that we did, children. I'm telling you in short so that you, next time when we have the class, you have an idea of what we are actually doing. You're not like, it's not like nothing is there in the head. So like, as I have told you, push or a pull. Now this push or a pull is actually what we call as force. Now if you actually, children, if you actually like think in your daily life, what do? When you apply the force, you're actually doing this. Either you're pushing something or you're pulling something. Have you ever seen push or pull written on the doors of like basically, I mean, everywhere you see it, like in the malls, then you see in the banks, then in the parlors, ice cream parlors. Why is it written push or pull? Have you seen, first of all? Yes or no? Tell me that.
Yes, ma'am.
So why is it?
Yes.
Why? See, it is a transparent door. And you don't know whether you have to apply the force in which direction. You have to pull it or you have to push it. Shreyash Mishra, can you just take a proper position? You can sit and listen to me. Thank you. Yes. So push or a pull. That is why they write it, so that the transparent door, you're not able to know that in which direction you have to move the door. So that is why they, for our convenience, they write push or pull, so that in which direction you can move to pull or to push. Is this much clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Fine. Next, we talked about 3 cases. Yes, that in which direction we are going to apply the force and what type of movement are we going to see. So case 1, we are on page number 137. Again, I'm telling this is not the wastage of time. I'm repeating this for those who were not able to attend the class in the previous days. And the second thing is, if it is gone out of your head, please understand the importance. Please follow what I am saying. This is for you. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
move to
Yes.
137. Here you find, children, 3 cases. 3 cases means, now see, this is not something very difficult. Simple सी एक बात है कि अगर हम push कर रहे हैं या push pull कर रहे हैं, so in which direction is the object going to move? Now by object I mean whatever we are trying. It may be a table, a box, it can be a bed, it can be a sofa, it can be a dining table, it can be a chair. Whatever you are pushing, whatever you are going to move, that becomes your object when we talk in terms of force. Now, let's talk about a table. That is easy. So, if you have taken a table and supposing you are applying the force from one direction. If you are applying the force, if you're trying to push it, what is going to happen? What do we see when you push it?
Ma'am,
The
it will
table
move.
moves in opposite direction.
Yes, it will move in opposite direction. Very, very good. And the other child said, ma'am, it is going to move. Correct. एक छोटी सी pencil ले लीजिए and you just try to move it. कैसे move करेंगे? उस पे force लगा के. By your leg or by your hand. The same way you have a ball. You have to move it. For playing with the ball, you have to move it. Either with your hand or with your leg, depending upon the type of ball and the type of game. So you're going to move it like that. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
Yes,
the
ma'am.
same way, fine. Now, based on the same logic, just try to understand the three cases that are mentioned on page number 137. We are going to find out that when and how does a force give the resultant. So we are going to understand because of it creates disturbance while the class is going on. I will understand this. Please put your speakers off quickly. Thank you. Yes. So the first case, when we talk about the first case, children, now just see, this is something which is very, very easy if you understand the logic and very difficult if you don't try to understand. So please, all of you, just think and understand what I'm talking about. See, we have taken an object. Like supposing, as I said, let's take an example of a table. So if we have taken a table and two children are there of your class only, fine. Like right now, I'll just take the name as A and B. Now, supposing A and B are standing on the one side of the table, fine. And like you know that we all have our different capacities. Yes? कोई ज्यादा ताकतवर होता है, कोई कम ताकतवर होता है. Agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Fine. So two people or two children, A and B, they are applying the force on the table and they are standing on the same direction. Fine. Let's say they are standing on the left side of the table, both of them. Now, A, since we know now, as I've just told you, that we measure the force and the unit is Newton. So we'll be talking about in terms of Newton. Supposing A applies 5 Newton force, okay? A applies 5 Newton force and B applies 10 Newton force. Is this much clear till here? We have two children. They are standing on the left side of the table and both are going to apply the force on the table because they want to move it. They want to change the place where the table is kept. Simply, A is applying 5 Newton force and B is applying 10 Newton force. Since they are standing on the left side, and when they apply the force, what are you going to see? What is the resultant?
Ma'am, the table will move to the right side.
Very good. What about the others? 8th D, 16 are there in the call. Do you get it? What this child has said? Who was it? Who gave the answer?
Ma'am, Tanvi. Ma'am, Tanvi Singh.
Yes. Whatever Tanvi said, is that clear? Why the table is going to move in the right direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I expect a yes from you at least.
Yes, ma'am.
It should be unanimous altogether. Fine. So this is because since they are standing on the left side, they are moving and they are applying the force in same direction. So both the forces 10 and 5 they get added up and the table moves towards the right direction. Now, just the second case, children, if we see, one is standing on the left side, the other is standing on the right side. A and B. A is standing on the left side and B is standing on the right side. Now, how much pressure, how much force was A applying? Quickly tell.
5.
Yes? 5.
5.
And B,
5.
10.
now they both are trying to move the table. उल्टे तरफ से दोनों लोग धक्का लगा रहे हैं. Now what will be the case? अब क्या होगा? क्या होना चाहिए? A भी लगा रहा है इधर से force और B भी उधर से लगा रहा है. दोनों लोग opposite direction में. So what should be the case? क्या होना चाहिए? Apply your brain.
The
Ma'am, the table will move to the side of A.
Okay, why?
Ma'am, because
the table will move to the side of A because B is applying more Newton force.
Very good, because it's excellent. Because B actually B का force ज्यादा है, 10 है, और A का 5 है. So of course, the one who is more energetic, yes, will be able to move the table. It's just like when you play the game and both like two of the boys, they start fighting. Yes. And who was able to win? The one who's more,
Stronger.
the one who has more power, more energy, the same way. Very good. So I hope this is clear. Now the third case, again, what happens that now here we have changed the condition. Now here A and B, both supposing they're applying the force, same force, that is 5 Newton from A and 5 Newton from B. Now what should be the thing?
ma'am, the table
Ma'am,
will
the
not. Ma'am, table will not.
Yes, maybe they keep standing for hours, but when the force is same, they won't be able to move. It will just remain like that. Is it okay?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
these are the three cases. Now turn the page. We come to page number 138. We have some effects of force. Effects means, now here, very important for you before we proceed with the actual topic, you need to understand that what is meant by effect. Effect का मतलब है असर क्या होगा. If you understand this word असर, आपका chemistry में और bio में और physics में, everywhere you will find usage of it. Like when you do pollution chapter, yes, effects पूछे जाते हैं और आप preventive measures or control measures लिखने लगते हैं. So you need to understand effect means क्या असर पड़ता है. The same way, what force can do. So the first one is, as I have discussed, force can change the position. Where you've kept the object, if you apply the force, it changes the position. Simple. रास्ते में कुछ एक कंकड़ पड़ा है, कोई एक ईटा पड़ा है, आपने पैर से खिसका दिया. Yes, हटा दिया. How? By applying force. So it can change the position. Where the object was kept, एक पास रखा था टेबल पे, आपने उठा के उसको डाइनिंग टेबल पे रख दिया, सेंटर टेबल से हटा के. Why? Because you applied force, you change the position. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
okay. Now the second case, we see change in the state of motion. If anything was moving, yes. Now what you can do, you can stop it. Like very common example, you all have cycles. Many of you even use scooties. So what do? You apply the brake and you stop it. The same way, if you've thrown a ball, it is moving with the speed, and by applying force, you can stop it. While seeing cricket, you observe this. Yes, the batsman, they hit the ball, and the other team, they try to just hold on with the ball. How? By applying force. So is this clear that it can also stop, or you can say it can change the state of motion. Motion means when it is moving. Please do have a pencil in your hand, and if you do not get it, if you do not have it in your head, then please write it down, so that whenever you revise, you just come across motion. That means it is moving. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Fine.
ma'am.
Okay, then the third case shouldn't be seen, that is change in the shape. Now, like as you see in the picture given on page number 138, you can see a person changing the shape of the can. Yes, you have cold drink cans, and if you apply force, it can change the shape. Similarly, there are different other objects where you can change the shape, but provided the objects should be soft. They shouldn't be very, very hard. Then, of course, it is not possible. Fine. So, like you have your pillows, then you have rubber objects like your bottles and all. Many of the time you try to crush it. Then the water bottles also, these water bottles like that you get in the market. Yes, mineral water bottle. They also, you can crush easily. Then some of the medicine bottles. Yes, so there you actually apply the force and you change the shape. So these are three effects that can be seen, that when the force is applied or on the application of the force, the shape of the object changes. Now children, here only I would like to tell you one more thing, that when we say object, many of the times we use the word body. So here when we say body, like when I'm talking about, when I'm teaching physics, it doesn't mean we are talking about a human or an animal body. By body also, we mean an object. So many of the time, teachers use the word we. Fine. Now, next type of forces. Now, type, as you know, children, that for moving an object, or for applying the force on an object, you need to touch it. Yes or no? अभी तक जितने भी
Yes,
एग्जाम्पल, यस, आपको पैर से बॉल को फेंकना पड़ेगा या हाथ से करना पड़ेगा, पेंसिल उठानी पड़ेगी, so you somewhere need to touch it. But now we are going to deal with a topic where we are going to know about the two types of force, that is contact force and non-contact force. Again, let me tell you, I am revising what we have already done. It's not that I'm teaching this way. I'm telling you, this is what we have already done. We have done till friction force. We are going to start with non-contact. So non-contact will be our fresh heading, which we'll be starting in hopefully the next class. Fine, children? Yes, this is all the revision. So contact force, when we talk about the contact force, that means there should be a contact of us with the object that we are trying to move or which we are going to see the effect of the force on. May it be any object. It can be a small object, it can be a big object. Like sometimes the cars, there is some technical problem and they are not able to run. They are not able to start. So what do you do? Or what we do? What do we see? What happens?
We push the car.
Yes, people, some people, 4 or 5 people, they have to push depending upon the just a minute, children. Depending upon the size of the car. Okay, so yes, so we need to push it, but for that, of course, we have to touch it. Is it possible that you stand in a corner and you say like Shaktiman, ruko ruko, main isko abhi na chala deta hu apne aap? Is it possible?
No, ma'am.
No, it is only possible for the people who do not actually exist. So contact force, when we talk about, that means we need to be in contact with the object which we are trying to move. Now, contact, when we talk about the contact forces, the first one is the muscular force. Now, I hope you know the meaning of the word muscles.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So where do you find these muscles? Where do you find these muscles? A very simple question. कहाँ पे होते हैं ये muscles?
In the body.
Whose body? Yes, yes, child, you were correct. Come on, repeat it.
Ma'am, in the body.
Yes, so human body and in animal body, we see the muscles. Now, when we talk about the plants, actually plants are not concerned with this, so we are not including that. Fine. So what are we saying? Human body and animal body. So basically, contact force, the first one, that is muscular force, basically we are talking about the force applied by the animals and the human beings. Whatever we are moving, whatever we are pushing, we are pulling, because of our muscles, the force of our muscles, that is what we call as muscular force. As you see, the horses, the buffaloes, ox, they pull the carts. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Then we are able to ride, we are able to open the door, we are able to play, we are able to kick the ball. It is all because of our muscular force. I hope this much is clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So next we talk about the other type of force, contact force, and that is frictional force. Now, friction force, children, if you the best example is, it is a force which applies the force on the object so as to stop its motion. Like a simple example I'll take, which is going to give you a proper idea. Like you take a ball, you throw it. तो क्या आप थ्रो कर देते तो क्या वो जीवन भर चलती रहती है बॉल? कहीं रुकती नहीं है, क्या होता है उसके साथ?
It stops after some time.
After some time, it stops.
After, very good, very good. After some time it stops, and it stops automatically. You don't have to apply any type of force to stop it. Is it like that?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, अपने आप रुक जाती। तो अपने आप कैसे रुक जाती? कुछ तो है जो उसको स्टॉप कर रहा है. So it is basically this ground, the floor, the surface, any surface, it provides friction force. Friction force is the force that automatically stops an object from moving, and that is why हम लोग जब चलते रहते हैं पैदल थक जाते हैं. अगर आधा घंटा टहल लिया, 1 घंटा टहल लिया, उसके थक जाते. Why? Because हमारे ऊपर भी what is getting applied, that is friction force. It opposes the motion. वो आपके चलने को, किसी भी चीज के मूवमेंट को वो अपोज करता है. So that is why the ball stops. Okay, वो करता रहता है अपोज, जब तक उसमें फोर्स रहता है बॉल में, it keeps moving, and once the friction force is more, then it stops. धीरे धीरे it stops. So that friction force is the force which occurs because of the contact. यहाँ पर हमको अभी ये पता करना है that it is also one of a type of contact force. That means there has to be a contact in between the surface and the object that is moving on it. Why did I take the example of the ball? Because that is something that you've seen. Now, same way when we talk about the cycles or the you can say the bicycles and the other means of transport that run on the road. Do you ever observe that these need to be repaired and they need to be replaced? The tires, I mean, हटाना पड़ता है, उसको change करना पड़ता है, ठीक कराना पड़ता है.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
of because of friction. पूरा chapter है, we'll be talking about friction. Friction का पूरा chapter है हमारे syllabus में. But अभी के लिए you need to understand that it is also a type of force, and it only and only exists when the object is in contact with the surface. आप फिर से एक बार सुनिए. आपने एक पेपर लिया या आपने एक book ले ली सकते. And right now also you can do, if you are sitting on a chair and you're having a table, just apply a little force on the book. देखिए थोड़ी दूर तक जाके रुक जाए. वो भी रुक रही है because the table is opposing the motion of the book, और वो रुक जाती है. पेन को थोड़ा सा आप उंगली से हम लोग कैरम की तरह कभी कभी खेलते रहते हैं बैठे हुए, आप देखते हैं थोड़ी दूर जाके रुक जाता है. Again it is happening because of the application of the friction force. Friction force ground apply करता है, कोई surface apply करता है on the object जो उसके ऊपर move कर रहा है. लेकिन अगर वो उसके टच में नहीं है, contact में नहीं है, so this type of force will not be able to apply. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So so this is how we have come to the end of today's class. Your homework is you are going to revise the topics that we have done today. I mean, which we have revised today, actually, I should say, because this is something very important, children. You cannot just mug up everything and write like that. Okay? You need to understand the concept. So till we meet again, take care of yourselves and keep revising. This is your homework. Bye-bye, children.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.